Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome for the second session of Faculty Development Program on recent trends in green chemistry. For the second session today, we are having eminent Professor Dr. Nagaraj Sir, SIT Tumkur. Welcome, sir. Nagaraj Sir has completed Master of Science in Chemistry in the year of 2000 from Bangalore University and PhD under the supervision of Dr. G.T. Chandrappa, Department of Chemistry, Bangalore University. In the year of 2009, he has moved to Professor Sampath Research Group, Department of Inorganic and Physical Chemistry, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, to work as postdoctoral fellowship on lithium-ion battery from 2009 to 2011. Later, Sir worked as a postdoctoral fellow in the Laboratory of Molecular Catalysis, Institute of Chemistry, UFRGS, Brazil. Currently, he is working as an assistant professor, Energy Material Research Laboratory, Department of Chemistry, Siddhaganga Institute of Technology, Tumkur. Sir research interests are synthesis of nanomaterials for energy-related application, synthesis and characterization, layer transition, metal oxide, sulfides, alloys, lithiated transition metal oxides, etc. via hydrothermal, solvothermal, ionothermal, and combustion methods. Lithium-ion battery, hydrogen production, degradation of organic dye are in industrial pollutants, graphene chemistry. His honors are Institute of Scholars has awarded Research Excellent Award in the year of 2020. Secured position in World Scientist and University Ranking 2021 list. World ranking position is 1,18,703, in country 1,967, and in SIT Tumkur number 1, surveyed by AD Scientific Index. Secured position in updated worldwide full list of top 2% scientists. His awards are in 1998, National Merit Scholarship Award by UGC, Government of India, awarded International Postdoctoral Fellowship in the Laboratory of Molecular Catalysis, UFRGS, Brazil, awarded as Young Scientist Fellowship from the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, New Delhi, awarded as Young Scientist Fellowship from the Vision Group of Science and Technology, Government of Karnataka in the year of 2016, and awarded as Fellow Visiting Fellow 10 in 1 across India to work under the supervision of Professor Ishwaramurthy, JNCASR, Bangalore, during the year 2016 and 17. He is handling many projects. He is the principal investigator of 7 sponsored projects and co-investigator for a project. With this short introduction, I welcome you, sir, once again, and please take over the session, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for the nice introduction.
Thank you, sir.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir, you are presenter now.
Yeah. Can I share?
Share screen, sir. Yes, sir. It is visible, sir.
Now is it a full screen, madam?
Sir?
Is it a full screen now?
No, sir.
I think
But it is visible.
it's okay. Slide.
It's okay. Carry on, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon. Now I'm going to give a brief introduction about the concept of green chemistry. Now the faculty members of Department of Chemistry DBIT, what they have discussed concept of green chemistry, really it is very important nowadays. At the same time, the concept of green chemistry not only belongs to a chemistry people, but all sort of people should know or should aware about the concept of green chemistry, and then we have to try to obey the rules and regulation of green chemistry. Even though the name mentioned that chemistry, but all sort of peoples has to obey. Now, especially that chemist peoples are polluting the environment. For example, pharmaceutical companies. In that, the peoples are not following the rules and regulation of the pollution control board. Indirectly, they are polluting the environment. Even paper industries, dye industries, textile industries. If they are following the rules and regulation of pollution control board, at least to certain extent, they are going to avoid the pollution what they are liberated. In that aspect, the concept of green chemistry is very, very important. Now, now, what is the meaning of green chemistry? Green chemistry is the utilization of a set of principles that reduces or eliminates the use of generation of hazardous substance during the design, manufacture, and application of chemical products. This concept is very, very important. Green chemistry, the utilization of set of principle. They have the set of principle. In that, what we are going to try, we are going to try to reduce or eliminate the use of generation of hazardous substance. When we did that reaction, that byproduct would be non-hazardous, right? In the design, manufacture, and application of chemical product. Green chemistry is at frontiers of this continuously evolving interdisciplinary science. That is, I told that it is not only a chemist people, it is an interdisciplinary area. All sort of scientists has to look into that and encourages researchers to attempts to reduce the environmental impact of the chemical enterprises by developing a technology base that is inherently non-toxic to the living things and the environment. Now, again, in that they have mentioned that green chemistry is also called sustainable chemistry, which is an area of chemistry. And then again, we are trying to work to reduce the environmental impact. Okay. And we are preventing the pollution. Now, even that UPSC definition is also going to say the same thing, right? Design of chemical products and the process that reduce or eliminates the use or generation of substances hazardous to human, animals, plants, and the environments. Okay, so that when the byproduct is liberating, we have to worry about that. What is the nature of the byproduct, and then to reduce the environmental, to reduce the hazardness, we have to go for the different steps, and then finally we are going to discharge the byproduct. Okay, now green chemistry discusses the engineering concept of pollution prevention and zero waste. Zero waste is the thing, but whatever the reactants we are going to use, and then all the reactant has to get converted to the product, and there is no byproduct. Then we are going to use that word zero waste, both at a laboratory and industrial scale. Okay. Then when we are coming to that, again, green chemistry. Now that green chemistry has mainly started with the US and then UK. In United States, instead of calling that green chemistry, that Environmental Protection Agency played a significant early role in fostering green chemistry through its pollution prevention programs, funding, and professional coordination. That means they have that Environmental Protection Agency have played a very important role towards the green chemistry. Now, when you're coming to that UK, University of York has contributed the establishment of green chemistry, and then even finally they are finally launched that green chemistry journal also. In that they are going to mention that what is the concept of green chemistry and how the peoples are going to help to reduce the hazards to improve our green chemistry technology. Now, coming to that set of principle, in 1998, Paul Anastas and John C. Warner has proposed a set of principle to guide the practice of green chemistry. In that, they have mentioned that 12 principle addresses a range of ways to reduce the environmental and health impacts of chemical production and development of green technology. That 12 principle has covered the 4 concepts. The design of process to maximize the amount of raw materials. Whatever the raw materials we are going to use, that raw materials have significantly involved, and then we are end up with the good product. And then the use of what kind of raw materials we have to think, that should be a renewable raw materials, so that we can use that materials again and again, we can prepare that material. At the same time, we are going to worry about that solvents. We have to use a non-hazardous solvents when you are going to prepare that material. They are also talking about the renewable energy, avoiding the production of waste. Nowadays, this renewable energy is also very important. Now, when you are going to the briefly sum up of the 12 principle, first is very important. I think doctor has been using that word, prevention is better than cure something. The doctor is going to use that. To that same, when you are coming to the green chemist, what they are going to say that preventing waste is better than treating or cleaning up waste after it is created. Okay, that is nothing but we did that reaction, and then we are going to worry about that what kind of product we are worrying about the product. Then instead of that, what they are going to mention, don't do that reaction itself. That is better. Preventing waste is better than treating or cleaning up the waste. Right? Atom economy, that means all the raw materials has to utilize significantly. Then when you are going to construct that reaction, we are thinking about that less hazardous chemical synthesis. That your reactant also should be less hazardous. At the same time, the product and the byproduct should be less hazardous. Designing safer chemicals. That means that reactant should be safer, that it should not give any toxic to the environment. Now, safer solvents and auxiliaries. Safer solvent is nothing but some solvents will impact on the environment. So that instead of using that, we have to think about the non-hazardous solvent. That is, in most of the cases, people are preferring water, right? Because that is a non-hazardous. Design for energy efficiency. That means we have to carry out the reactions at low temperature or ambient temperature whenever it is possible. Instead of taking that reaction at a high temperature, always try to do that reaction at a ambient temperature. Then reuse of renewable feedstock. That is nothing but the material renewable. Use that renewable materials to do the reactions, and then reduce derivatives, byproducts and all. Right? That is the different multi-step reactions. Try to avoid the multi-step reactions, and then catalyst. Right? Catalytic reagents that can be used in small quantities to repeat a reaction. Design of degradation. Then real-time analysis for pollution prevention, and the last one is inherently safer chemistry for accident prevention. Right? Whenever possible, the substances in a process and the forms those substances should be chosen to minimize risks such as explosion, fires, and accidental releases. These are the 12 principles constructed by 1998 by Paul Anastas and John C. Warner. Keeping that concept in that mind, 12 principle, and what we are going to mention that 46% of the solvents, right, that hazardous solvents for a human activities used by paints and coatings. So that when we are avoiding the usage of paints and coatings, then indirectly we are going to protect the environment. Okay, now when you are coming to the green chemistry, in 2005 itself, these are the two scientists got a Nobel Prize. They have not mentioned directly towards that in the green chemistry, but what the experiment they did, okay, the concept of experiment is indirectly that supports the green chemistry, so that they got a Nobel Prize at 2005 towards the concept of green chemistry. Now, bioengineering is also seen as a promising technique for achieving green chemistry goals. That means we have to design that reactions so that we can reduce the environmental impact. Now, when you are coming to the other aspects, how people are going to, these are the what I have mentioned that these are related to a man-made activities, that industrial and all man-made activities. When you are coming to that nature, right, then we are polluting that environment, but nature is always trying to reconnect that. Okay, now we have to think that why the olden peoples are following some tradition, even though they are not aware scientific reason. We have been thinking that, but it is not true. They know all, and then they have been doing that, right? Okay, now when I'm going to search something about the our ancient people or age-old peoples, what they did and then why they did, and then in that internet I got some interesting also. Now scientists believe cow only the animal that inhales and exhales oxygen. Now, for that, I think if you are coming from a rural area, then you are maybe you also knew that concept. Of course, I knew that, but I have not aware that reason till now. I think maybe just 2 days back I came to know that, because what they are going to do in the rural peoples, that in the night time that cows whatever it may be, they are living inside that home itself, right? Okay, now we are thinking that maybe a space problem and all, but that ancient peoples they did because of the generation of oxygen, right? Okay, that inhales oxygen at the same time that exhales oxygen, so that that cow shed and all within that home. Now when you are coming to that environment, these are the plants which liberates oxygen even at night, but scientific report says that there is a liberation of oxygen during the photocatalysis. When you're coming to that green chemistry, then these are the 5 plants which releases oxygen even at night also. Now, what are the 5 plants? Okay, now this aloe vera which liberates oxygen, snake plant. I think most of the people are keeping that in that home itself as a right uh, in the pot and all. This is snake plant is also liberating. And then coming to the interesting matter, this people tree. This people tree is also liberating oxygen. Okay, now despite the negative superstition, people tree has several benefits which makes it rather important tree. It not only emits oxygen but can also be used to manage diabetes, treatment, and asthma. Now, I think Ashwatha Mara, this is the word used in Kannada, and then this is one of the very important tree. Coming to that next, neem tree is also right, which is also emitting oxygen in the night. In addition to that, it is I think they have mentioned that it is a natural pesticide. Now I have realized that even almost all the villages, maybe I don't know whether we have now or not, just but when you're going to 10 or 20 years back, all the villages they have one Ashwatha Katte. In Kannada, we are going to use that word Ashwatha Katte. In that they have one people tree and then one neem tree exactly at the center of the village, right? Why the world people say that age old people are putting that tree exactly at the center? Because they are releasing oxygen even at night also. Now we are thinking that age old people are not aware of the science anything, but definitely they know that science. I came to know that this concept only maybe 2 to 3 days back. These are the big trees which liberates oxygen during night. Now come to a chemist concept. Now, I have given the general example. A plus B gives rise to C plus D. When you are coming to that yield is low, and then coming to a industrial purpose, that is a 50% profit. In that case, we have used water as a solvent. Now, the same reactions when you are using chloroform, right? Of course, the cost of the solvent will be more, but we are going to get a 80% of the product, and then that yield is also very high. Then industrial people are preferring this reaction rather than this. But environmental people, they are asking to follow this method, even though the profit will be less, because the solvent will not show any environmental impact. That is a environmental friendly solvent rather than the chloroform. So that we have to prefer this. Environmental pollution control body is asking to use this reaction rather than this reaction. But industry people will not do that, right? They are going to cheat that and then following this, and indirectly they are spoiling the environment. Another cases, just think that A plus B gives to C plus D, and then water is a byproduct. In this case, CO2 is a byproduct. I just assume that other product as a byproduct. Now, for that, if CO2 is a byproduct, even though they are going to get a little high profit, but that environmental peoples, they're asking to follow this, right? Because liberation of carbon dioxide is again a hazardous to the environment, right? Okay, so that we have to design that reactions which should not liberate any hazardous, even though the profit will be little less. Now, that what that industry people they are going to do, heavy penalty should be imposed on violators, right? Of course, in India or maybe in Karnataka, their people are not going to do that, the pollution control board. But when you are coming to US and then UK, Europe countries, they are going to put a heavy penalty if they are discharging the byproducts without treating them into a river or maybe a ocean, right? Okay, because of the reason, most of the pharmaceutical industries are near Bombay and Gujarat, right? Because they are directly discharging the that liberation of the byproduct directly to that river, right? They are not going to make any treatment. That is, of course, that is not correct, right? Dumping the untreated sewage and industrial waste into water bodies are some of the main reasons for the pollution, right? Okay, now always use environmental friendly product. Water is one of the world most important resources. We can all do our part to stop polluting it. That means indirectly they're asking to use water in most of the cases. Do not litter into rivers. We cannot use environmentally friendly products, and then do not litter into and any other hazardous materials into rivers, lakes or oceans. Minimize the use of pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, or this will prevent runoff materials into nearby water sources. These are very, very important. Nowadays, this fertilizers is nothing but to avoid that fertilizers. Already people are wake up and then using that organic food, right? Okay, so that we all know that what is the meaning and then why we are going to prefer that, right? Now, to support environment, don't think that we have to do it in a higher level. Don't think that industry people only polluting that environment. Okay, we are also polluting the environment, right? So that each person, every person has to think about the solution to save the environment. Then what it is, then why I have mentioned this, right? Even in most of the cases, in all the cases, when we are going to ride that vehicle, suppose if you keep one bag, right, that cloth bag in that, indirectly we are going to support the green chemistry concept, right? Okay, now that means if we have that bag, of course, it is a pleasure to say that our HOD is always saying that keep one bag in the vehicle. When you are going to a vegetables market or a flower market or to get any vegetable fruit, don't use the plastic covers. Even if they are going to give the plastic also, don't say that to put it in that bag. Say that just I have the bag, right? So that always keep that bag in the vehicle, so that indirectly we are going to avoid the environment. Indirectly we are following the concept of green chemistry. Now, when you are coming to that plastic, right? Okay, when you're looking for that, the degradation of plastic is ranging from half life of the plastic ranging from 58 years to 1200 years, right? So that if you are imagine that, then we will never use the plastic. We will try to reduce the use of plastic, right? Okay, they have mentioned the, even in this journal, they have mentioned that what is the half life period of degradation, right? Okay, so that we have to ban the use of plastic to support the environmental aspect. Now, avoid the use of plastic items in a function. This is also very simple, right? Okay, now what I mentioned that when you're going to a marriage and all, nowadays people are also, and then pollution control board or the environment, that municipality, and also they're strict with that, right? Now what it is, instead of using that plastic cups, even they are going to give a paper cup. Just see that they're going to give a paper cup. Even on the to put a cloth on that also, this is again a paper. Now, in just maybe 5 years back, that paper plate is playing in almost all the role. Nowadays, people again they gone back to our history and then they are using that banana tree, right? Now, using that banana tree, right? This study banana leaves is again a very important. When you are looking for the concept, in olden days, people used to serve food in banana leaves, right? Okay, which is now turned into plates. Now, when you're going back, doctors, right? Of course, this word is not suitable. Doctors say that increased use of plastic is one of the causes of incident of cancer. Even taking a tea in that plastic cup, again, it leads to a cancer. Then it was widespread that on social media, banana leaf has a magical anti-cancer properties. This term is very, very important. Anti-cancer properties, banana leaves, right? Okay, just observe that when you put a hard food on that, we are going to get a some different shading of the color occurs. That shading of the color will produce that anti-cancer properties, and then indirectly we are taking that anti-cancer thing to our body. Now, what they mentioned that banana leaves magical anti-cancer properties, right? Okay, now India has a tradition of serving food on banana leaves. These leaves are considered sacred and pure and also offering prasada, right? Okay, now when you are coming for that, the wax-like coating on these leaves not just adds taste to the dishes, but also makes it easy to clean the leaves and it prevents dirt and dust from sticking. Right? Even in the marriage and all, what they are asking, just put a water and then we are going to get a cleaning, right? Okay, that is nothing but it is having a wax-like nature, so that dust particles will not absorb in a strong manner, so that we can easily remove with the water. Then the leaves are rich in antioxidant called polyphenols, which are also found in green tea and some leaves, so that indirectly we are using the antioxidant properties which are for a cancer. Now I'm saying that even again, these olden peoples are not aware of any chemistry, but they are using the principle of green chemistry, right? I think somewhere I have mentioned that doctors, right? That doctor is nothing but maybe only 50 years or 100 years. From 100 years we have been using that word doctor. But when you are going back that, right, doctors means what it is. In my knowledge, our age-old peoples or our ancient peoples are the doctors, right? Not this real MBBS doctors. Okay, now coming for that renewable energy, nowadays I think almost all, maybe 2025 they want to replace all the vehicles by these battery vehicles, right? Because of the less abundance, less use of petroleum product, right? Because they are not renewable, right? They are going to exhaust. So that even in almost all the cases, they have already in the market, right? Two wheelers, again, that battery vehicles and all. Why? The concept that is nothing but a renewable energy. When you're coming to that renewable energy, the first plan comes to a solar energy, right? Then solar energy nothing but just maybe 5 years back, that solar energy will be used only to get a hot water in the home and all, right? Okay, that we have been using that solar to get a hot water for our bath, right? Now the trend has changes. Now this solar has been used for a electric purpose also. I think in most of the cases, people have generating the electricity and then they are selling to a that KPTCL, that engineering electricity board for a payment, right? Now when you are looking for that, this is for a running purpose, right? Okay. Now even just see here in all the places, this is solar panels, vehicle, right? Okay. Now when you are looking for that, solar park at near Pagoda generates electricity, right? Okay, when you're looking for that, it was one of the biggest solar park in Karnataka, around 13,000 acres, and then generating 2050 megawatt electricity, and then they are going to sell it to a electric KPTCL, and then they are generating the money. These are something about the solar, and then which comes to a first place. Now the second one, wind, right? Okay, now even because I'm from Tumkur, just if you cross Shira, then even we are going to see that even at NH4 itself. When you are near Chitradurga, you will see that lot of this one. Even in Dambaspete, they have the industries making this blade, right? Okay, in that they are going to convert wind energy into a electrical energy. They are going to generate electricity, right? Now, when you even in the they have mentioned that the state of Karnataka is rich in wind farms compared with other state in India. The state presently installed a capacity of in March 2019. They have mentioned that 24,654 megawatts of electricity generated by a wind energy. Now, hydroelectric, that is nothing but the best example is a Shivana Samudra. That is, we are going to generate that electricity. We have been generating the electricity just by pumping the water from higher level to a lower level, and then we are using the turbines to generate electricity. This image is from the Shivana Samudra. Now, coming to a new concept, what I have mentioned that those are old, but now we are been utilizing the application. Now, when you are coming to that hydrogen needs to be combined with other elements such as oxygens to make water, right? When we have water, H2O. Now, what we are going to do that instead of combining, we are going to split that water. We are going to get H2 and then O2, right? Okay. Now, benefit is nothing but hydrogen is one of the very good fuel which is having a very high calorific value. But at the same time, it is having a limitations also. What is the main limitation? Safety is the limitation. That is very important, right? Keeping that, if other than that safety, hydrogen is having a lot of benefits, right? So that to use that hydrogen as a fuel, we have to keep some safety concept, otherwise which catches fire, right? Okay, now they are going to generate hydrogen, and then like petroleum product, even they have been used hydrogen as a fuel to run the vehicle. Of course, this is not from India. Okay, in US and then UK, France, they have been already using hydrogen as a fuel. Now, this slide shows that these countries, they have already a hydrogen tank, right? What are these countries? In America, they have two industries. They have already, of course, I think three industries. They have already started to prepare hydrogen and then storing that in a tank and then supplying as a fuel. In US, they have already three companies running, and then in France and then UK, in Europe countries, they have started two companies to generate hydrogen, so that they have been using as a fuel, right? Okay, now even the other ways to prepare hydrogen without using electricity also, this they are going to use that wind power. This wind power will generate that electricity. That electricity is used to decompose water to H2 and then O2. We are going to store that H2 and then we are utilizing, right? We are utilizing hydrogen as a fuel. Zero carbon heating for homes, right? They are utilizing this hydrogen as a fuel for a different purpose. Even biomass is also a renewable energy derived from biomass. Just if we move to 10 years or 15 years back, right? Okay, now what he did that almost all the farmers who have that cows in their home, they have only preparing that gobar gas, right? From that cow dung. Just 10 years back, it has been, but nowadays they are not going to use that, right? Okay, gobar gas or a biogas is a mixture of gases. It is a mixture of gases primarily consisting of methane and carbon dioxide produced from raw materials such as agriculture waste, manure, municipal waste, etc. But those are a farmer, just simply they are going to put that cow dung and then put it in a water filter, and then they are going to pour it to here, and then which produces a gobar gas, using it as a fuel for a cooking domestic purpose, right? Okay, now when we are looking for that, just see here, it's a cow dung mixtures, and then they are going to get a energy. This is a tank, in that they are going to put a cow dung and the water, right? From the filtration that is goes to water, and then that will liberates energy. Now, clean energy is the energy that comes from renewable, zero emission sources that do not pollute the atmosphere when used, as well as energy saved by energy efficiency measures. Okay, so that we have to use a clean energy that is from a renewable sources, so that we are avoid polluting the environment. Now, I think when you are looking for that, just see that why we are moving to a renewable energy, because of the problems with the fossil fuel, right? There is a petroleum product liberates a lot of carbon dioxide indirectly, which spoils our environment. Because of that, we are moving to a lithium-ion battery or hydrogen generation, right? These are all the vehicles which are in US, right? Okay, now when they are coming for that, even this Boeing, they have already used hydrogen as a fuel, and then hydrogen tank, and then this train, world first hydrogen powered train, it is in Japan, right? Even when you're coming to that battery, of course, even in Bangalore, Tumkur, like now they have a hot field to get that, right? Because they put a green board on that vehicle, there is no registration, right? So that other people are again moving towards to buy that electricity vehicle. Of course, it is also having some disadvantages. Maybe I think we are all familiar with that. Maybe last week, even in Bangalore, one two-wheeler with a battery, right? That electric two-wheeler, it catches a fire when it is going on the road itself. I think maybe you are all aware of that. Right. This is something about the concept of green chemistry, and then how we are going to support to avoid the liberation of hazardous materials to the environment, and then what are the simple steps we can take to avoid the pollutions and move towards a green chemistry method. Now, when you are coming to that, even it is happy to say that our research group has also been producing hydrogen. Of course, it is not to an industrial scale, at a laboratory scale, right? Now, It is pleasure to say that one of the coordinator of your DBAT is also, we are also having collaboration with her, and then we have also produced one paper, that is ionothermal synthesis of TiO2 nanoparticles for hydrogen generation. Of course, Dr. Shubha is from your DBAT. We have done the collaboration work and then producing the hydrogen generation at our laboratory. And then these are the few publications towards the hydrogen generation from our research group. And then why we are moving to a hydrogen? Of course, it is having a very high calorific value. Now, when you are coming to that future fuel is nothing but hydrogen energy, is it true? We are going to say that yes, because it is easily available. We have a lot of water. Only thing, we have to split that water to get H2 and O2. To split that water H2 and O2, it is not so easy to split H2 and then O2, right? For that, we have to do a basic science, right? Then what is the advantages? Easily available. No hazardous emission. When we split that water, we are going to get H2 and then O2 only, right? We are going to collect H2 and then O2 is liberating, or if you need O2 also, right? Then they are going to collect O2, right? Okay, when you are going to collect O2, you are just think that maybe 6 months back, that O2 is also very, very important, right? Because Corona, and, right? At that time, even the collection of O2, that oxygen cylinder is also very, very important. Environmental friendly, used as a fuel in rockets, fuel efficiency, and a renewable. What are the disadvantages? Mainly to do that, to liberate that hydrogen, it is a little expensive process. Still, we are not reaching to a manufacturing step, right? Okay, so that reduce the cost. Storage is a problem. That is nothing but it is a little flammable gas, so that highly inflammable, so that storage will be little tough, right? So that we have to do a basic research and then we have to establish industry, thereby automatically the cost of the materials will decrease. In the directions, the scientist has to work to make that as a hydrogen, right? Now, how to do that? When you're coming for that, it is a very simple to do that, but we should have that knowledge on that. Now, what they did, right? Of course, this is the UV array visible sources. What we did, we have taken that nanomaterials and then we have added water and then some sacrificial reagent, right? Mainly nanomaterials and water. What that nanomaterials will do, that nanomaterials will split that water to H2 and then O2 in presence of light, right? When you are passing that light, there is a photocatalytic material that split H2 and then O2. And then this is a rubber symptom. Now, from this syringe, we are going to take that liberation of gases from this and then inject into a GC, and then finally we are going to get a peak, right? Okay, that is nothing but in some cases we are going to see that a continuous online. In some cases offline, right? In this case, maybe 30 minutes at zero interval of time. When you mix those two, we are going to take that and then we are going to inject in your GC and then we are noting down. At 0 minute, there is no liberation of H2 and then O2. After 30 minutes, again, we are going to take that gas, whatever it is liberated with the Hamilton syringe, and then injecting, and then we are going to observe certain amount of H2 and then O2. Just by at a regular interval of time, 0 minute, 30 minutes, 60, 150 something, and then we are going to say that. As the time increases, the amount of oxygen or hydrogen liberated is also increases. Indirectly, we are going to say that the materials liberates H2 and then O2. This is a very simple setup to generate hydrogen and oxygen. Right? Okay, now coming for our recent work, what we did, we have prepared titanium oxide and then copper doped titanium oxide. We have taken titanium tetra isopropoxide, copper nitrate, and then tea leaves extract, and we have done a sonication for 3 hours, right? 3 hours. Then we are going to get a pure TiO2 and then copper doped TiO2. When you're coming for a pure TiO2, we are not going to use copper nitrate. And for copper doped TiO2, we have used this copper Cu2 plus as a dopant. Okay, just by sonication, we got that material. When you took that XRD, okay, this is a pure TiO2, and then these are the copper doped TiO2. Because of the presence of only 1%, 2%, there is no change in the XRD pattern, right? There is no extra peak due to copper, but there is a small shift in the highest intense peak of the XRD. Of course, we have mentioned that in a paper. There is a small shift in the XRD, indicate that there is a inclusion of copper, Cu, and then Cu2 plus in the material. Okay, now when we did that XPS, that XPS says that titanium is in a +4 oxidation state, and then copper is in +2 oxidation state. That is nothing but Cu2 plus, right? Okay, now when we took that optical property, when we did that optical property band gap, then what we got that report, for 0% pure TaO2 is having a band gap of 3.3. As the percentage of copper increases, the band gap is decreases, right? Okay, so that as the band gap decreases, it is a good photocatalytic material. Now, this is the HRTM pattern for the copper doped TaO2, and then the dark spots indicate the presence of copper. At the same time, when you're coming for a SAD pattern, all the lines are not in the same direction. We indicate that the material is a polycrystalline, a group of lines, right? Okay, then this is the pattern for copper, this is for TaO2. Then which says that the material is polycrystalline. When we did the hydrogen generation for that, pure TaO2 generates, they have mentioned that 493. As the percentage of copper increases, right, the hydrogen generation also increases. Interestingly, let's see that at 3% copper doping, we got a very high copper H2 generation. As the percentage of copper increases, again hydrogen generation decreases. For that, when you're looking for the reason why, as the concentration of copper increases, hydrogen generation increases, but after certain stage, why it decreases? Because as the energy gap between the valence band and conduction band is too much less, then the rate of recombination of electron and hole increases. At a particular, then the rate of combination will be less, but after certain stage increases, right? So that at 4%, the hydrogen generation decreases. So that we are going to say that 3% copper doping shows very good hydrogen generation, right? Okay, now when you are coming for the next also, in this case, we have prepared TaO2 and then TaO2 RGO composite. So first paper shows that addition of copper enhances the hydrogen generation. In the second paper, we are going to mention that the presence of graphene again enhances the hydrogen generation compared to the bare material. Now, in this case, we have prepared TaO2 materials at a different temperature, different conditions, and using different ionic liquids. When we change the condition, again there is a change in the crystalline phase, right? When you are looking for that, at 100 degrees centigrade, we are going to get a one phase. At 120 degrees centigrade, just see that there is the appearance of rutile phase, right? This is pure anatase. At 120 degree, appearance of rutile. At 140 degrees centigrade, just see that rutile phase increases the rutile phase. Let's see here, these are the rutile phase, right? As the temperature changes, then there is a change of the material polymer from one to another. Now, these are the ionic liquids we have used for the preparation of TaO2 nanoparticle. And then how to find out the presence of graphene, right? We have taken the pure Raman for TaO2 material, and then these are the characteristics peaks for TaO2, and then we done the composite material. That composite material shows the presence of both the TaO2 as well as the graphene. These are the standard graphene peaks, so that the composite also shows the presence of graphene, so that we can say that there is a TaO2 composite, right? When you're looking for that, these are the pure, TM for the pure TaO2, and then these are the TM for the TaO2 RGO. Then indirectly, that means they have mentioned that these TaO2 nanoparticles are present on the surface of the graphene, right? Anchoring on the surface of the graphene. Indirectly, we are going to say that this TaO2 is present on the surface of graphene. Just see, okay, these are like a chain line. When you're coming for here, just see here, this is the graphene sheet. Back is the graphene sheet. On the surface of graphene, then we are going to say that this is a presence of titanium TaO2 nanoparticle. When we have this, then there is a electrical connection, right? Okay, so that just when you are looking for that, okay, I think I will show you that. Okay, just see here, this is the one at a particular condition we have prepared. This is a TaO2 which shows hydrogen generation. For the same material, if you add graphene, yes, there is a huge enhancement in the hydrogen generation for TaO2 RGO. Again here, we have prepared this TaO2 using ionic liquid 2, and then it was showing pure TaO2, and then TaO2 RGO. Whatever the materials, whatever the condition, right? Then the presence of RGO will enhances the hydrogen generation, right? For that, we are going to say that the presence of RGO will reduce the resistivity and then increases the enhancement of hydrogen generation. I think this paper is also going to say the same thing, right? We have prepared TaO2 and then TaO2 RGO materials, and then the XRD pattern is matches with the TaO2. We have mentioned that 21, 1, 2, 7, 2, and this Raman is shows the presence of TaO2 RGO composite. Again, we did the band gap, and then TaO2 RGO shows less band gap when compared to the pure TaO2 materials, so that it shows a good photocatalytic activity. Right, now just see here, this is the pure TaO2. We are going to get a beads like material, and then this is TaO2 RGO on the presence of graphene sheet. Right, this is the graphene sheet, and then these are a TaO2 particle. You can clearly say that TaO2 nanoparticles are embedded on the surface of a graphene. Right, just see here, it is a very nice, right? Okay, these are the TM images for the presence of TaO2 nanoparticle on the surface of graphene. Even when you are looking for that, right, this is a P25 commercial TaO2, and then this is TaO2 nanoparticle, and then this is TaO2 RGO commercial, and then commercial TaO2 is also shows hydrogen generation, right? This is a micro size particle, this is a nano size TaO2, and then this composite will shows the enhancement. And then to go into the in-depth why the TaO2 RGO shows enhanced hydrogen generation when compared to pure TaO2, for that we did the impedance. When you're looking for that impedance, right? Okay, this is the impedance pattern for TaO2, and then the small circle is for TaO2 RGO. This small circle indicates that there is a reduced resistance, right? Okay, when there is a reduced resistance is nothing but which supports the conductivity. Even here also we have mentioned that 3.3 is the band gap for pure TaO2 material. The presence of graphene will reduce the band gap, so that the movement of electrons from valence band to conduction band will be very easy. Now, when you are coming to that schematic, what we have mentioned that why the conductivity will be more when the materials will be anchored on the surface of graphene, because of the conductivity. Just assume that this one TaO2 and the other TaO2, right? And the distance between these two, right? Indirectly, there is a graphene sheet. These particles are present on the surface of graphene, so that there is a conductivity, and then we are going to get a enhanced performance. Now, when you are coming to that research, we have to think in an innovative way, right? Even he is our PhD guy. We have to think in an innovative way, and then definitely we are going to do a good research work. And then our PhD guide has also done a good work, and then he has published that papers in the Nature. And then after that, what we are going to do, one of my PhD students has also done in a very innovative way, right? Then what he has done in a very simple, take the titanium tetrachloride. Now, why I am showing this, we should not think that that kind of work it is not possible to do in our hand, right? Only thing, that is not the proper statement, that is not a general statement. We have to think it in an innovative way. Even if you don't have anything, then definitely we can do something, right? Okay, now even one of our PhD student, what he did, he has taken the titanium chloride. In one case he had added titanium chloride to water, and another case he has added titanium chloride to ionic liquid, just by changing the solvent, right? Instead of water, when we add to ionic liquid, and then he has produced that, he has published it in a very good paper, right? Okay, that was appeared in a very important papers, and also as a cover page, so that what it shows, we should not think that it is not possible to do it in our hand, right? So that just by thinking innovative idea, then definitely we can do that. Now, this was the last slide. Again, I'm going to say that we are thinking that we knew all, right? But again, when you're coming to 375 to 415 CE, right? Okay, this pillar, it is in Delhi. Of course, I have also seen. Okay, almost maybe around 2 to 3 years, 2000 to 3000 years was over, but still it was not corroded. That means maybe around 2000 years back itself, the peoples are aware about the corrosion. We are thinking that now we are going to do some experiment on the corrosion, right? Corrosion science prevention, that and all we are going to read, and then we are going to teach engineering students. But going back to 2000 years, they are aware of the corrosion chemistry, right? What they did, right? Constructed by Chandragupta II. The corrosion resistance results from an even layer of crystalline iron 3 hydrogen phosphate hydride forming on the high phosphorus content iron, which serves to protect it from the effects of Delhi climate. Delhi climate is nothing but a cold. They are mentioning that indirectly, okay, which avoids the formation of a corrosion product on the surface, right? 2000 or 3000 years back itself, our ancient peoples have aware of the corrosion, and then they have prepared this pillar. It should not undergo any corrosion, right? Okay, thank you. If you have any questions, I think I taught almost all general, only maybe few slides. If you have any, please, we will discuss. Other than the subjects, we will discuss in a general way, because the FTP is on the concept of green chemistry, green technology. Hello. 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 Hello.
Sir, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, is it okay?
Thank you so much for your wonderful session, sir.
Thank you.
So, audience, participants,
If
anybody
you have any
want to
questions,
ask?
we will discuss.
Yes, session is open now. You please ask to sir. Just in chat box, you can send messages.
Yeah, we will discuss. Almost 70% of the slides are general. Only thing you have to follow towards the green chemistry, and then only maybe 30% of the slides are related to my work. If you have any questions or a suggestion, then we will discuss.
Yes,
If you don't have, then we
participants
will.
can send message. Yes, sir. You want me to read, sir? Shall I read, sir?
Yeah, madam, I think I did not get.
Yes, sir. We have received a question from Dinesh P. And how much volume of hydrogen is generated and how much is measured them quantitatively?
Yeah, of course, when you are coming for that, that depends upon each material. Okay, now see, just when you are looking for that, okay, in this paper, of course, I have not mentioned the company. We have taken 8 mg of TaO2 in this paper. Okay, 8 mg of TaO2 and then 4 ml of ethanol and then 20 ml of water. For that, just when you are looking for that, this is the amount of hydrogen, 2.25 approximately millimole per gram of hydrogen, right? Okay, that is nothing but this is only a research level. When you are going for industrial level, we have to do it little more. This is only a research level. We are producing it in a very less quantity. For 8 mg of TaO2 with 4 ml of ethanol and then 20 ml of water, we have produced maybe at 2.25 hours, maybe around 2.25 millimole per gram. Now going back, let's see here for this material, it is showing it in a different way, right? One, they have mentioned that 1 millimole for the different way, right? Just see here 2. So that it is very difficult to expect the same amount of hydrogen for a different catalyst, right? That depends upon the nature of the catalyst. That is nothing but a photocatalyst. If it's a good photocatalyst, which will liberate a little high amount of hydrogen. Okay, we cannot say it in a general way. Dinesh, right? Still, if you have, then
Hi.
please let me know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anybody else want to ask anything? You can interact with sir now. Some previously there was a question. Somebody was trying to put a message in chat. That is from Prasanna sir Davanigara, I guess.
Yeah, please, madam. Read.
Sir, if you are there in meeting, can you please put your question in chat box, sir? Sir, beyond that, we have received informative session from Vijay Kumar sir, Dr. K. Vijay Kumar sir, and one more person also have sent message like informative session. Thank you so much for your valuable time spent with us, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, madam. Thank you. Thank you for the organizers for this invitation.
Just a moment,
Thank you.
sir. Just 1 minute, sir. 1 minute.
Okay, madam.
So
Okay, please. Madam.
just I was waiting for the participants to send a message, sir. Just a moment,
Yeah.
sir. We will wind.
Okay, no,
We
madam,
will
no
wind
problem.
up the session.
Any questions, madam?
Just a moment. Just a moment.
Okay, let them type.
Yes, sir.
Let them ask also, no problem. Instead of starting, let them ask directly also, no problem. We will discuss.
So we didn't give mic permission, sir.
Okay, okay, okay.
That's what we are waiting for the message in the chat.
No problem from my side, madam.
Okay, sir. Okay, fine, sir. If there is no question, we will wind up the meeting.
Okay, madam. Thank you, madam.
Thank you
for the.
so much for your valuable time and the knowledge you shared, sir. The session was
Thank you.
wonderful. Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you.
As a
Thank you,
token
thank
of gratitude, we are sharing the appreciation certificate, sir. We have shared. Please accept it, sir.
Okay, madam. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation, Dr. Nagaraj, sir.
Okay. So participants, you can connect to tomorrow's meeting. Okay, tomorrow's session by 10:30 itself. And a feedback link we will send in the group itself. We will send in the group itself. For the second session feedback link, we will send. Just you fill it. And in chat box also feedback link is there. We will connect it tomorrow. Thank you so much for your patient listening. Thank you.